I know that you've all been prepared for this, but I thought I'd just remind you just the same.
Can you handle that, Blondie?
Game over, man. Game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
It was pure evil.
I want to buy some radio ad time.
Welcome back for another episode. I'm your host, Vincent Green.
And I'm your host, Mojon Tui.
We got Carmack in the back, and this is Invasion of the Potty Snatchers. Let's get to it, motherfuckers. Get all steamy in here. All right, Noel. So, first time earlier on today, we talked about The Shining, and we broke down that fucking layer cake of a movie.
Oh my god.
But now this time we've come back, like same way Stephen King came back, and same way like popular culture came back, I suppose, to the world of the Overlook Hotel, of the Torrances. We're back, growing up Danny Torrance, this time played by Ewan McGregor. It's like, what, this movie was only made, 2 or 3 years ago or something?
Yeah.
And so like it's like nearly 40 years on itself. Probably could have held off for the 40-year anniversary, whatever, no big but
so they got greenlit and they went for it.
Yeah, so like, because what did you make? Like, first of all, Stephen King went back a long time from after he wrote the original, and now we see the world of The Shining come back, even though we kind of seen a little bit of it in Ready Player One before that, which is kind of brilliant.
I thought it was a really good job, I thought, of expanding the world and just because you would wonder how Danny would have done out in the real world after that, because he would have grown up and he would have carried all that damage with him.
I like the way he wasn't some superhero or something.
Exactly. Yeah. He kind of closed himself off to The Shining.
Yeah.
He still got like the very rare visits from Halloran who gave him the box technique to kind of try and get rid of some of the entities that are trying to follow him from the Overlook.
Yeah.
But I loved how broken he was, because like that is unfortunately what happens to people. Yeah. Like you said, it would have been if he was just a superhero and wherever the people cry out for a hero.
His father's son at the end of the day, like
his father what?
He's his father's son.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
You know what I mean? He has the Shining, but he still has his father's dark.
And he said, Halloran says that to him when they're talking, albeit through The Shining, that your father had dark in him, but he said, the roles reversed. He had a bit of light in him, and you have a bit of dark in you.
Yeah, exactly.
The yin yang typical.
Do you think his mother might how do certain people like is Wendy got The Shining? Like,
no, I don't think so. No,
you know what I mean. Like, where does The Shining come from? Just one of them things.
I think it's just simply one of those things.
Yeah.
And that's the most like mutants in X-Men or Jedis in Star Wars or something like that. It's kind of never fully explained.
Yeah,
it's not it's not always hereditary or. But he just...
It's like the way they never explained like what the Force was. Oh wait, my producer's in my ear.
Yeah,
midichlorians. That's a stupid fucking idea.
But yeah, I thought Ewan McGregor just, he's beating the shit out of a dude in the bar, and he's taking a girl home and he's screwing, and then he wakes up and she's vomited on the bed, and he just leaves the toddler there, steals back a little bit of the money that was stolen off him, and gets out of there. I thought that was cool. That's what I wanted. I wanted the gritty realism inside of something that's so far-fetched. Yeah. And it gave me that.
Yeah, and you're going to be clearly broken after being a 5-year-old kid. Like, actually, 5-year-old, because he mentions that, doesn't he? Later on, remember we were saying he was 8 or 9.
Supposed to be 5.
Yeah. But like you have this 5-year-old kid who witnesses his father going crazy. He's seen all this weird thing. He's trying to suppress it. He has this fucking gift that he's trying to, like, at first he's trying to suppress it in the night, and he actually starts to learn how to control it, because Dick O'Halloran, it just all of a sudden is like, oh, by the way, something I should have told you when I was alive.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
He said you could see that The Shining had taken a lot from him as well.
Yeah.
His relationship with his mother, she could see the father in him, and she knew that there was something, again, the way there was something off about Jack, and then he went crazy. There was something off about the kid, even though it was a completely different kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
And I think that, and then kind of, before they delve too far into that, they kind of introduce a new kid with The Shining, and even more Abra, and an even more advanced version of it. And
she's a whale.
Yeah,
that's their terms.
Yeah, it was an excellent version. Yeah. And then I thought, because the first one was very much so, the film, the antagonist was a hotel. Yeah. This one, it went more linear. Yeah. The antagonist was a group called the True Knot.
Yeah, the True Knot.
And they
Like as in not as in KNOT.
KNOT as in
I was wondering that because I thought
yeah,
maybe
I didn't realize
NOTHC.
until I was reading a
Yeah,
bit
because
about
first
it.
for a while I was thinking not. Like,
I thought it was
like,
true not as in two words that they cancelled themselves out.
Yeah.
I didn't really get it. But I thought when they were introduced, and then you can see that they need to very quickly show you that they're a nomadic tribe that feed on
Yeah.
The Shining, and it gives them longevity.
everyone's met a Magic Gypsy.
Everyone's met a Magic Gypsy.
My producer's getting me. No, that is incorrect. Sorry.
Incorrect.
Incorrect again. I'm not doing well tonight.
Earlier in this podcast, I may have said,
If I've offended any Magic Gypsies or non-Magic
Yeah.
Gypsies out there.
I've seen Drag Me to Hell. I'm not fucking that shit.
Yeah, and thinner as well. Like, you know,
Yeah.
do not fuck with a gypsy woman. That's all I'm saying. Allegedly.
Allegedly, yeah.
See, I'm covering us everywhere from being sued. You know what I mean? I'm just like Neo at the end of the Matrix, just like, it's like blocking lawsuits.
And then one gets through and you go, upgrades.
It's like, hey Noel, I need to learn how to defend myself against this. And like, do you know how to? No, wait, never do it.
But I was watching this and I was kind of, directly after watching The Shining,
Yeah.
it felt like something I could ease myself into.
Yeah.
I liked the linear motion of it. And that's not to say it didn't have symbolism or that it didn't have, but it just had a linear track that you could follow. You could even see, like, there was a little girl with The Shining and nobody to mentor her. There was Danny who had cut himself off from The Shining.
One could say Hugh McGregor was the student and then became the master.
Wow, what an interesting and unique
So
way.
I don't think he's ever done that before.
No.
But it's never worked
I
out
think
so
he
well
did it
for
this
him, I think.
Obi-Wan time.
Yeah. This time, no, it did go well for him.
Yeah.
It went better for him.
But that's the thing. That's one of the things I loved about Abra in this.
She's awesome in it.
Yeah.
What's the actor's name?
Her name was Kylie Curran.
Kylie Curran.
Yeah. And she was excellent. She was, I think, the best thing about this for me. But I thought that when I was watching this, I thought it was so interesting, linear, and also I thought the fact that we're feeding off kids just gave you an antagonist that you were just allowed to classically hate.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a nuanced thing. It wasn't a Thanos thing.
Yeah.
Where there was almost this like dark.
Yeah, they were a
pragmatism.
gypsy tribe of Pennywises.
Exactly, yeah. Well, that's kind of exactly what they were. And you know, the feed on that girl at the start, and
Violet.
Violet, that's correct. Yeah, and
You said that's the little girl from The Haunting of Hill House.
Haunting of Hill House. A lot of actors, a lot of Barry the Chunk or something. One of the True Knot was the groundskeeper.
And you said Henry Thomas played.
And Henry Thomas
Jack
plays Jack
Torrance.
Nicholson.
He plays Jack Torrance.
Jack Torrance.
Technically,
Well, he kind of plays Jack Nicholson. Playing Jack Torrance. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
A man tried.
He's like, he's out of line, but he's right. Couldn't use that for everything.
But I thought that this film was just so easy to slip into.
Yeah.
You were able to just watch it and chill.
Yeah.
And see how it all unfolds. And there was the predictability of like Abra inevitably meeting up with Danny.
Yeah.
And there was the inevitability of the True Not becoming aware of a girl because like Danny was able to like predict things and see things, but she had a magic show when she was like 6.
Yeah.
So she stuck all the spoons to the ceiling.
Yeah.
You know, like this girl was. Again, Neo.
She's the one.
But it does. She was.
Yeah,
like,
she's very steamy.
Yeah, exactly.
To use their term. Not being queer or creepy.
Yeah, but I thought it had one of the most brutal death scenes, and I for a film that I didn't think was going to go there.
Yeah.
I thought the baseball kid. I think he's just kind of referred to as a baseball kid. He gets a name later on, but
baseball boy or something.
Baseball boy, yeah. Where
number 19.
Where she. Because they can see each other through The Shining, and she's so powerful, even though he's about 1,500 miles away.
Yeah,
she feels his pain, and she projects herself there.
Yeah,
and
that's the first time that Rose the Hat sees her.
Rose the Hat sees her, and when she figures out, because she's kind of able to track that she's on the other coast.
Yeah,
she's like, "Wow, this is the whale." And they hadn't been. They kind of explained that they got longevity because they introduced the snake bite.
Yeah. The young
girl who's a pusher.
What's her name? Andy? Is it Anna?
Andy, yeah, Snake by Andy. who's her introduction was excellent.
Yeah.
Her luring paedophiles to a theater or wherever, and
She should have a reality TV show.
thing is, she was actually doing something that was quite altruistic, and you know, she wasn't killing them.
And she gave it up for not immortality, but like.
Well, she thought she was giving up for immortality.
Yeah.
There's a cool scene where one of them is actually cycling out, I think is the way they referred to it.
Grandpa Wicks or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
And she's like, I thought she was immortal, and Rose the Hat said, did anyone tell you that? I said you would live long and eat well.
Yeah.
And we haven't been eating well.
Yeah, for a long time.
For a long time, yeah. And that makes the whale.
Just not enough steam left in the world.
Just not enough steam left in the world. But that's it, which is why to me it was a bit interesting that they increased their ranks. But I guess she brought a gift that they could definitely use.
Because she's a pusher.
But she's a pusher,
yeah. Because she can control people pretty much.
Yes, and that was it. There was another woman.
And that makes it so much more easy when you want to try pick up.
Yeah, there's Silent Sari was another one of them. I would have wished they expanded on. Because when I didn't read the book on this, but I read into the background of this.
Yeah.
You realise that they all had their own characteristics. There was Silent Sari, who she rarely spoke, but she makes absolutely no sound when she moves.
Yeah, well, that's the one that gets shot. Right outside, right beside the blonde girl.
Exactly.
In the woods, I think that's her.
Yeah, that's her, and they didn't really expand on because a bit like
it's hard
Interview with a Vampire, as in they're all vampires and it gives them like this, and the weakness is this and this, but they all had individual gifts.
Yeah.
And in this, they had individual gifts. They never really delved into them. Like the crow was a tracker.
Yeah.
And
Crow Daddy.
Yeah. And Rose the Hat was just the most powerful of them. She was an extremely powerful psychic. Yeah. And you had the pusher. And I think
Rebecca Ferguson's a great actor, though.
Oh, she was fantastic.
Absolutely gorgeous.
That was it. She was she was excellent.
So cool.
Yeah, that was the thing.
It's cool.
And also, like, just for it's always so unsettling when somebody.
I let her eat my face.
Yeah,
she can have my steam. Very little. I have terrible intuition.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But she did play like kind of lovable character who was doing something so repulsive that I made it worse.
Yeah.
That it made her more unlikable.
Yeah.
Like I remember watching this and having that. I love that feeling where they have a character and like, I want this character to die horrendously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want it to be absolutely, and I love that feeling. I love watching the film. I'm hoping it comes to that
because she's an absolute predator. Like.
Oh, she's an absolute predator.
Yeah.
She's a monster, and the world would be such a better place without her.
Yeah.
And especially something that she stands to live another 1,000 years.
Yeah. Like
the absolute untold misery that she would inflict upon the world. So I thought it was great to have a instead of a kind of highbrow concept villain. Insanity itself, or the grounds of a hotel where all this, but this was Rose the Hat. I liked having someone who was just able to hate. Did you like that?
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes from our superhero love.
Probably, actually, no,
we just like we just like a physical background.
She was Lex Luthor or whatever. Yeah, we were able to just look at her and say, although she was even worse, like more like a dark side or something, because there was no altruism.
Yeah,
it wasn't like a view she had of the world. They just simply fed on The Shining. Yeah. And
it was all about making her tribe stronger.
It was all about making. Yeah, that was it. The only thing they actually cared about was each other.
Yeah.
And I thought the pacing in the film then was quite good. Like I liked where they showed quite quickly as well how Ewan McGregor cleaned himself up over 8 years and became like a night porter in a retirement home. I'm going to say, or was it
wasn't a night porter? He was an orderly.
An orderly.
Yeah.
In a hospital or in a
hospice.
Hospice.
A hospice.
And then there was the cat.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, I didn't know why he was called Dr. Sleep. And then he follows the cat.
That scene's incredible.
That scene's incredible.
Where he's putting the guy to sleep in a sense. Like,
And he man jokes. He goes, no, you're a doctor. Because he keeps impressing upon him that he's not a doctor.
Yeah.
But then when he gives him peace, like gives him a notion in his head, he just says thank you when he passes away. And I thought that was...
That dude was like saying that knowing it's coming doesn't make it any less scary.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's literally the one thought I don't want to have in my head before I die. That's the one thing you don't want to be scared at the end. Like no matter what.
Yeah, the lucky ones aren't scared.
Yeah, we all know we're going to die. We all know. That's just the way it is. But
you
just do not want to be scared in your last moments. That's the thing, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that scene's so fucking good though, when he just gives him that peace of mind, like you said, and he's just like, thank you, doctor. And he said, I'm not a doctor. He goes, you're a doctor, you're Dr. Sleep. Like, you know what I mean? That scene's fucking incredible, like. He finally got.
I'll remember that scene for a long time.
Yeah, and he finally got his superhero name as well. Like.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, but he's there. But he really cleaned himself up, and he was going to his meetings and all of that kind of classic stuff.
Yeah.
And but when you always have that thing where they refuse to take on the Paddy one. where she comes to him like in person and
Yeah.
says like there's been a murder or stuff like that, and he just has her, you like stay out of their way,
Yeah.
just hide.
Is Cliff Curtis playing a Latino dude in this? Is he? He's right. But people are always he's Maori. Stop making him play Latino people.
Cliff Curtis has played. Wasn't he in True Lies and stuff? Like, was that him? Who was a?
Yeah.
I think they went through like I think I seen a laundry list of the people he's played, and he's just played people who would have anything from
That's what I liked about the Fear of the
a
Walking
Maori to a Middle Eastern to an Asian complexion. He's just not a pasty white guy.
That's what,
or an Asian or a black guy.
Yeah.
So anything that exists inside of that.
I liked about Fear the Walking Dead. Like, we're going to have Cliff Curtis from New Zealand.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Yeah.
It's really not that hard.
Yeah,
it's not that hard to do. Like, you know what I mean?
But yeah, he was good in it. Well, though, you know, like
he's always good though.
Yeah, he made the most
good.
of his role. Like, he's the guy to give Danny.
He left Fear of Walking Dead to actually go work in Avatar, I think.
Yeah, I think he did have the tiniest bit of The Shining, like so small that
Cliff Curtis.
Yeah, Cliff Curtis' character. Yeah, because he was like, he said, I don't know, I do have a feeling about people or something like that. So he did. I think he had literally just the tiniest notion,
because that's what
a speck of it. Like,
yeah, because some people have The Shining and don't even know. It's
yes,
like,
they touched upon that, and I thought that was
when to bring home flowers when someone wants them. Or
that was a great, exactly. And I think he represented that. Just somebody who had an innate ability to defer good from bad. Like a lot of us think we do. But he probably had it on a degree where he kind of was always right. Yeah. He helped somebody who probably did need help or was worth helping.
Yeah.
But
do you think the little kid deserved to be getting murdered because he was like cheating in baseball?
I'm gonna lean into a no on that, like, you know. Like the craziest doping scandal ever.
Would you say? You know what I mean? It's like he's off his tits on Shining.
Exactly. And I love the fact that the people are watching the game and the Crow Daddy's right there. And it's like he can read their mind.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, on the nose, like he has, I don't know, a shining of some kind.
But in Crow Daddy's defense and in Mike Flanagan's defense, because he wrote the script, Crow Daddy actually could sense a boy, and he couldn't pin him down, and that's why he asked, what's her name, Rose the Hat. He asked her, I need to feed, because I might actually need to feed to find this kid, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And he found him pretty much the next day or so. So he pretty much knew he was in the general area, but he couldn't pinpoint him. So I think he was there for a kid.
Yeah.
And he probably maybe even knew that.
I like the fact that they were both somehow immortal and tethering on death.
Yeah.
And that's not too common.
It's like they were made out of dust.
Yeah. And so I thought that was a good juxtaposition to have, where they're so strong and so evil, and the last thing you'd ever want to run into, and also they're just scraping by.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that they're introduced to a whale when the whale is introduced to them.
Yeah, she was a looker.
And I thought storytelling, I thought it was a very easy and simplistic way to do it. Was her shining could make her, the people who have strong shining, they could reach out to each other, and she was so strong that when that kid cried out in so much pain that she could feel it.
Yeah.
So that was just an easy way to introduce them to each other. I thought it was really cool. And I thought Rose the Hat's first introduction to her in the shopping, when she was shopping, I thought that was
when she pushed her out.
Yeah, absolutely blew up the freezer.
And she even like made Danny pass out as well, like, because remember he fainted at was it like a fucking AA meeting or something?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
I never understood, right? And Alcoholics Anonymous, they're like, anonymous. Why are you making people say their name?
Yeah.
The first thing you do is like, hi, I'm whoever, I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Can you not just say, hi, I'm here for help, I'm an alcoholic? Why do you need your name, people?
Yeah. You can just call me
number 4.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I'm number 4. Call me actually, no way. I don't want to start calling me by numbers. We'll end up with a Clockwork Orange.
The name's Skip Vinyl. It was one of my favourite jokes of Futurama. Most people just call me Orange Joe.
But what did you make of the kind of homages that were paid for? Like, cause
I thought they were excellent because you know, even the flashback scenes earlier on, they got the carpet exactly right. There was,
which won't be hard.
I'm just saying, but the length of the hallways, the colour of the doors, the type of tricycle that he was on, there was care. And you could feel that, and you appreciate that. Like,
a lot of people that read the book, I haven't read the book, but a lot of people say that it's a great middle ground between paying homage to the book Dr. Sleep and how that worked from the Shining book, and actually paying homage to the Shining movie. So it's kind of like a sequel to both of them. Like it says that it covers it's a perfect middle ground to nearly both Shinings, like the Shining in the book and the Shining in the movie. And,
Yeah, it
you know,
is
that kinda-
like it's almost somehow I think they call it an interquel.
Yeah.
It's something you release the first film, like one of the Star Wars where they get the plans for the Death Star.
yeah, Rogue One.
Rogue One was an
Yeah.
interquel. But I
It's
think
an old code, sir, but it checks out.
but I think this kind of works as its own in a way, in a weird sense, because it's not. It'll touch upon some of the in between time, but not enough for it to be its own separate storyline. But it just connects it.
Yeah.
And I thought it did that really well. Like the film felt like it had a lot of love put into it.
When I watched them back to back, it kind of gave me the same feeling, even though this actually had the real gap that chapter 1 and chapter 2 didn't. But the way the stories were seen, like the Loser Club when they grew up, and in chapter 2, and I know those movies are made a lot closer together.
Yeah.
But it kind of gives me that same feeling, and maybe because we just watched part 1 and 2, and maybe because they're both based on Stephen King books, and like the elements or the basis for the storytelling or the elements that are like contained within the story itself are similar or whatever. But when I watched them back recently or today, like they gave me that kind of same feeling that like of when I watched it chapter 1 and chapter 2, and they had that 27-year gap, even though this really had
Absolutely,
an almost 40-year gap. Even the books were released far apart, weren't they?
I'm not sure. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure of the book Doctor Sleep, to be absolutely honest with you, and I didn't hear great things about this, so I didn't engage with it.
Yeah.
I figured I'd get to it when I get to it, and I obviously it was kind of an inorganic way that I came to it because we decided to cover it, and I was watching this going, this is kind of right up my alley.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
It's a great movie,
Yeah.
you know. And I thought, finally, like the first film kind of touched upon what The Shining is.
Yeah.
The second film was like, bitch, this is what The Shining is.
Yeah.
This is like the sheer scope of what it could be.
Yeah.
Like a completely the word ethereal realm that can exist between.
I love the way, like, with clever dialogue or clever storytelling, one line can leave open for a universe, and that's Dick O'Halloran saying, "There's a lot of people out there shine, just some shine more than others."
Yeah,
and that's literally what Dr. Steve was about.
Yeah,
it's about out there, people shine. Some people shine a lot more than others.
Yeah,
and like some people have this intuition. Some people are whales. Some people are just like some people are able to push. Some people are able to like Danny. He's like a radio. Like he's pretty much that's how he's different than her. Like seems to have kind of nearly less control over his shine than her, and an earlier
but he was
age.
never harnessing it. But she was prodigious as well as powerful.
Yeah,
it just made sense to her when she seen the magician stick the spoons to his nose and his hand and whatnot, and she just said, "I can do that."
Yeah,
I assume she had never done it.
Yeah,
but
they're all in the fucking ceiling,
and they're all in the ceiling, and she was able to play the piano. From such a young age, quite beautifully, but then she was able to play it from the other room when the parents come down and the piano is actually playing itself. So she's
because she's able to astral project.
Oh yeah. She might be the strongest ever.
Yeah,
because even the True Knot, they were shocked. Like Crow Daddy said, "You're telling me she was able to look in on us from 1,500 miles away?" He found that unbelievable.
Yeah,
he's centuries old.
Centuries.
And
he probably was turned when Native Americans.
Oh, absolutely.
Back then, like
I think she was. I think Rose the Hat was actually quite young, relatively speaking.
But
she was born
powerful.
in Antrim, and she was County Antrim here in Ireland, and she was. But she rose through the ranks because she was so powerful and driven.
Yeah.
But she's supposed to be like from the early 1800s, and she was one of the youngest. Well, obviously, Snake
but Rose was Aber before Aber was Aber.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. That was it. She was hugely powerful.
Well, just to say before we move on to the next bit, the book came out in 2013.
Right, so that's quite new.
Yeah, because it was on the screen, it was wrecking my head. I just wanted to get it down off the screen.
But what did you think about the first showdown where she finally figures out it's kind of almost where she is, so she was able to visit her?
Yeah.
And I just thought
because she knew she was on the northeast coast or something like that. She said, wasn't there, or something?
And then there's an earthquake.
Yeah,
that a micro earthquake that gets reported.
Oh, that's what they trace it back to her.
Micro. As in through one person's house.
Yeah, and this is how we see how powerful Rose is.
Yes,
because she can do astral projection and shit like as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean? She literally flew to there like thousands of miles away, and I thought it was brilliant. Where I don't know why. She goes in.
It's just one where the kid leaves the trap for her, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And she goes in and she's looking through her head. She goes, "You should see inside my," because it just looked like a filing cabinet.
Yeah, mine looks like a cathedral.
Mine's a cathedral.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this. Actually, you were talking about good lines. I thought the line later. She goes, "You're just like me. I think the only difference between me and you is time."
Yeah.
You don't know yet what you do for a little more time. And
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
that was, again, you're saying a line, just a line. And that was just a line that made me go, that's a fucking
Mike
cool
Flanagan
line.
is slowly becoming a fucking horror icon at the moment. Like,
Yeah,
when I say
yeah.
slowly, I think I'm being very like ungenerous. Like, cause he's done Trick or Treat, and then he disappeared for a while, didn't he? Like, and then
Yeah,
he just
yeah.
came back. He's been making movies and TV series like a motherfucker right now.
I think this deserved more love than it got, and unfortunately, I have to say that I was part of the problem.
Yeah.
Whatever, there were probably people thought maybe it was very long.
Yeah.
Attention spans are gone to shit. That's why we used to have
Look at it, chapter 1, chapter 2. That's 5 hours of horror right there.
Yeah,
like.
but that was kind of explosive special effects and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was
This had a very similar tone to the It movie.
It did. It felt like it could exist in the same universe, didn't it?
100%.
The type of supernatural,
Which it
just
does,
has that.
like,
Which it does. Yeah,
yeah.
it has that Stephen King kind of stamp.
Because Stephen King has that Stephen King universe kind of thing.
Yes.
Everything kind of or overlaps.
Yeah,
or whatever,
it
like.
hinted inside of his own storylines. But I thought their first showdown where she traps her hand inside the cabinet.
That looks so painful.
So painful. And she's
Oh my
sitting on the
God.
end of the bed, and I have no idea why. I think they might have said in the
Why does she have no eyes?
because there was a poster on the wall of an anime, I think, where there's a character that doesn't have eyes, and it was one of her favorite animes.
Oh, she's pretending to be
And
that.
no, it's just that's how she sees it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
Because
yeah,
a lot
that's-
of this is how you would perceive it.
Yeah.
So I think that was it, or that was hinted
it's
at.
like her
everybody.
being in a cosplay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
She was like, he said you'd come. I'm glad you did.
Oh, do you think it could have been a case of to give herself bravery, make herself feel brave,
Possibly.
make herself look like a hero?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Yeah,
that kind of way, like.
That's it. Like whatever mood or whatever kind of form you take, it's obviously very malleable.
She was so creepy with no eyes, though.
Oh,
wasn't
she was
And that
terrifying.
smile.
Oh, and that smile, she did it a few times. didn't it? She
Yeah.
had this really creepy smile
Yeah.
where she's Dan.
Yeah.
Later on, where Dan kind of takes her over, and
He's in the back of the seat with Crow Daddy.
yeah, she's like, I've never seen nice trick. I've never seen that one before. Do you want to see another one? I
Yeah.
thought that was great.
Yeah.
You know,
And he's like, since you think yourself immortal, was
the
that?
arrogance. Yes, you
Yeah.
think yourself immortal. Makes sense. You wouldn't wear a seatbelt. That's
Yeah.
another great line. These are lines that just will stay with you. But that first showdown where she locks her in and then gets inside her head,
Yeah.
and so she knows she has to actually physically get out of the trap, and she pulls her hand
Yeah.
out, and it absolutely
And she's
messes
like
her
fucking,
up.
you can actually hear her going through all the files for memories or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I thought it was cool as well because she steps away, and I think she wants to get out of there, but she's stuck to the ground quite
Yeah.
literally. She takes a step back, and it's like standing on glue.
Yeah.
So obviously, sorry, what was the girl's name?
Abra.
Yeah,
I think
Abra
it was literally short for Abracadabra.
Abracadabra, yeah. But she was trying to keep her there. She wasn't done with her.
Yeah.
And she realized like this you can't fuck around with this.
Yeah.
girl. She finally escapes. She falls off the roof of her caravan,
Yeah, she
and
gets
her
shot
hands
off and
completely fucking messed
Yeah.
up.
She gets literally shot off the roof.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's
And it's a
insane.
big coincidence. The oldest of them, who's been around since it seemed the era of the Romans,
Yeah.
happens to be dying that very night. Which
But he
is,
has been dying since, he has not been well since the Reagan era. That's what Joanne says.
really,
Yeah, that's what, because she goes, what's his name? Grandpa Wicks or something.
Grandpa
isn't it?
Wicks sounds right.
And he was like, Crawdaddy, he says Grandpa Wicks isn't well. And she's like, Grandpa Wicks hasn't been well since Reagan administration was in the office or something shit like that. Like, oh no, since the Reagan administration. So like he's literally been dying for like 40 years.
But that's what dying probably would be when
Yeah.
when your longevity is that like your cancer, whatever that's eating away at you, would obviously be slowed down to a snail's pace, but
Yeah.
nevertheless still happening. And showing that when they died, they turned to steam. This kind of annoyed me. You know, he
Yeah.
died and he turned to steam, and they all jumped on it and drank it in. I would have liked if the steam that they gave off at the end was completely toxic.
Yeah.
You know, like because them having it is so perverted
Yeah.
that I think that they don't taint it. Kind of annoyed me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It was just what I would have
I think
preferred.
they're just made up of steam.
Yeah,
I think that's just what it is. They have steam they have steam like a person that shines. They shine. They decide not to shine. They let in the dark. I think that's like Stephen King, you're a genius writer, but like letting the dark and shit.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we get it. One guy shines, everyone is dark. We get it. But but I think that's what it is. They're like literally, as Hugh McGregor says later on, the Overlook is a place that's not very good. It's not very good for people like us. So I assume it would not be very good for people like them or whatever. Like
Yeah.
paraphrasing, obviously terribly. But like, you know what I mean? So I think they actually are people that shine and just they do that transformation, what they do with what's her name, Snake by Andy. So that transformation to do.
And the chant about the true not.
Yeah.
And that's when it finally meant.
Because you want Andy's like, am I still human? You know, and then Rebecca Ferguson said, like, do you even care?
Yeah.
Like, so.
That doesn't matter.
Or does it matter? Is it, like, you know what I mean? So I think that's the case. I think they actually do shine, or they did shine. But they get into the
and
dark.
they still have their innate abilities.
Yeah.
I think what they've just taken is
Just
the
dark
actual,
side.
the life, maybe even the what would be considered the natural lifespan of the child. So every child they kill, they get, like, they share 10, 15 years each.
Yeah. It's probably even longer than that, though.
Maybe so, like,
But and saying that, we don't know how regularly they do feed on Steam, like, so
that's it. Yeah, they could go years without finding anybody. You know,
they seem to have like a stockpile though in Rose the Hat's caravan.
yes.
So so there must be like.
But at that stockpile, I think it's not like they're not full. It's not like they could put probably all that steam into one container, but
It's
the steam
rations.
is different people as well, and that's when they're giving Violet to Snakebite Andy.
Yeah.
She's like, this one smells of flowers.
Yeah, or taste the flowers.
Taste of. Oh, I'm not sure now. You have
Because she eats the flowers, doesn't she? Earlier on, in, what's her face? Does
Rose the Hat.
What's the Rose the Hat? Is it?
Yeah.
For some reason, I can never remember her name. Like
Rose the Hat. I love the name. I don't know why it's such a simple name, but just Rose
I
the
love
Hat.
her
Just works
explanation
for
for it. I wore this hat so much they just started calling me Rose the Hat.
Rose the Hat.
Yeah.
And I thought I thought the set pieces where they took each other on, I thought were excellent.
Yeah.
I thought the shootout where he lures the true knot in, I thought he took him out a bit too easy. Like they never think of just literally stay in cover until they run out of bullets.
They seem like they've never been in a gunfight ever before.
They've definitely never been in a gunfight.
One guy sees a person getting shot, right, and so you know someone's after shooting her from a long distance. If I, like, even a loved one, if I see Lorraine getting shot and I know someone's after shooting her from a long distance, you want to run in and grab them. But you do, you're going to get shot.
Yeah.
100%.
Especially if it's a kill shot.
You know what I mean? Like, so that person gets shot right as Snakebite Andy gets into the mobile home. Her fella runs out, just waving the gun around in the open. Guess what happens to him? He gets shot.
He gets shot. And that's it. They were all supposed to have these different kind of abilities. I wish they had kind of shown us them. They were very much so. The True Knot was Crow Daddy, Snakebite Andy, and especially Rose the Hat.
Yeah.
I felt like I got to know them a bit. I felt like the other ones were making up the numbers.
Yeah. Kind of like Proximate Midnight and all them in Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
It's like, I really want to see what all their cool backstories is, but I feel like you're only here so Thanos doesn't die in this movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we get to see baddies die.
Exactly. That's it.
Body count.
They did have a cool backstory, you know, but they didn't delve in. I get into it. A film can only be finite long. And there's a lot of storytelling to be told.
And they told a lot of stories.
And that's the thing. They told an awful lot of story.
Yeah.
And
it might be better suited to a 6-part miniseries on Netflix.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Could have very much so gone that way.
Yeah,
and they would have had enough to work with.
And Mike Flanagan's really in with Netflix. He's done both their American no, not American
Haunting of Hill House.
But what don't they have an overall name for them? No.
Not sure.
No, but it's Haunting Hill House, and what was the other Haunting of Blight?
My partner wasn't great because I'm too
great.
impressionable, so I didn't watch it.
No, it's not great.
My partner watched it and she was like,
the first one's better.
First one's brilliant.
Yeah. Second one, not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought this one had that just action feel, which I think I was really in the mood for after watching the original Shining.
I think both of them just encapsulated the era they were told, the storytelling style of their era.
Yes.
Like in the 70s, 80s, you got that kind of hybrid with the Shining of the suspense with the new added gore and the little bit of extraness, you know what I mean, attitude, like in the weirdness like that the 80s kind of started having with the stories, you know what I mean? But when Mike Flanagan comes from, you're talking like what, 3 or 4 years ago this movie came out, so you're talking the era of post It Chapter 1. So you're seeing now how you stylize a Stephen King story in the modern age, because It Chapter 1 did in a specific way, and that's why both of us are getting the same vibes from Dr. Sleep that we got from It, because both of them belong in the same era of storytelling.
True.
So even though you can't like people might say Dr. Sleep is bad or whatever, you can't compare the two of them to Shining. Like, no, they're in almost different genres, because Dr.
Not if they were trying to tell the exact same story as well. Like
Dr. Sleep's nearly not even horror.
Yeah, because The Shining, like in and of itself, is not a thing that has an objective.
Yeah.
It's a thing that is. And it's a thing that you can tell a story around. So it's not like the first film was trying to be content. It wasn't like the first film was about the woman that would be pregnant with John Connor, and then the second film was about John Connor, and it's very much so a continuation, and you can compare them.
Yeah.
This just felt like the universe exists within, and the first Shining was a hotel and the second was people who fed off The Shining.
Yeah.
So the hotel fed off The Shining, and these people literally fed like food off The Shining. And they, like you said, they're based in the same universe, but they were chalk and cheese in so many ways. And the second one took advantage of the era it was made in. It used special effects.
Yeah.
Like I never felt like it was. The story was good enough that I didn't feel like they were trying to rely on it. I thought when she walks and turns the room, I loved that. I thought it was.
Where she hangs off the window.
Yes,
and it's just
and then she lets go. Yeah,
and she ends up in the shopping center or the supermarket.
In supermarket. Yeah. Just the because you always kind of wondered what The Shining was. This doesn't so much explains it, but the capacity or scope that it could take. Yeah. I thought I did a beautiful job explaining.
It's like Dr. Sleep's a superhero and Shining was his origin story.
Yeah. I didn't know what she thought was going to happen when she jumped into Rose the Hat.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, this woman's been around for centuries. Like, she knows that she has
She's a kid. She's curious.
Yeah,
she's got power.
It, yeah. She's brave as well. They make it quite clear. And when she sees that kid, like, she hated him.
Yeah.
Because even when Crow Daddy's dead,
yeah.
So, like, she gets out and she sits down and she goes, I hope that hurts a lot.
Yeah.
She offers him no comfort.
Yeah, because as soon as she sees the little kid get murdered, she's actually after them.
Oh, yeah. They're after her and she's after them. And that's such a great kind of setting, because usually it's, you know, you're forced to take on
it's
Michael
Myers. It's not cat and mouse, it's nearly cat and cat.
Yeah, that's it. It's cat and mouse. The mouse runs away until it's cornered.
Yeah.
And this was cat and cat, I think is a good way of putting it, because once she kills Crow Daddy, it's like, I'm not, like, you're coming for me one or the other, and I want revenge for that kid. And guess what? I killed all your buddies.
Yeah.
So then it was inevitable. Yeah. So neither of them tried to run from the other. In fact, they just tried to choose the setting.
So let this be your final battle.
Let this be. But I thought, and that was such a beautiful way to bring in the hotel.
Yeah. And literally, before we go back to the Overlook, do you want to get a fucking break?
I think we'll take a 2-minute, a 5-minute break.
A 5-minute break. With the magic of technology, it comes Star wipe.
You know there's other wipes. Star wipe.
I haven't seen a star wipe. All right, folks. All right, this is the Invasion of Potty Snatchers. I'm your host, Vincent Green.
I'm your host, Noel John Dewey.
We got Carmack in the back, and we'll be back after the break with more Dr. Sleep. And now a word from our sponsors.
You don't eat garlic bread?
No, I'm not fancy at all, man. I'm just a plain Jane.
Fair enough.
And we're back from the break. This is Invasion of Potty Snatchers. I'm your host, Vincent Green.
And I'm your host, Noel John Dewey.
And we got Carmack in the back, and we're back with more Dr. Sleep. And Noel, before we were going to the break, we talked about, you know, how the movie weighs up against the original, because you can't avoid the comparisons, but we thought, like, you know, because of the difference in the stories or the difference in the eras or the difference in the styles, that the comparisons are they're a bit unnecessary in a lot of ways, because they're so different that, like, I think you should just enjoy them, even though they exist in the same story in the same universe. They can be enjoyed as very standalone movies, like, you know. So I think, like, if anyone is being too snobbish because they think Dr. Sleep might take away from their experience of The Shining, if that adds
could not disagree with them more. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
It adds to it, and at the same time completely exists singularly away from it, or whatever, you know what I mean? And that's what a good sequel, especially if there's a big time gap, should do, like, you know what I mean? Because to avoid these direct comparisons, whatever, go for a different style, go for a different tone, and go for a kind of different way of pacing or a different way of telling the story.
Make your own movie. That's what they did. They made their own movie.
But while it's at the same time paying respect to the original. And I think that's the best story way you can do a long delayed sequel. And not even saying long delayed, because there was just a big gap naturally. It's not like Stephen King wrote the sequel to The Shining in 1984. And you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It happened in 2013. The movie came out like 4 or 5 years later. Because, like, Stephen King now is like, he's technically writes novels, but at the same time he's kind of writing the screenplay for whatever that novel.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? He's just so prolific, and just everything he makes gets made. Like, he must be. Must be so rich. It must be ridiculous.
He must be worth $500 million.
Like, it must be redonkulous. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and fair fucks to his son Joe Hill not taking his name and then becoming a success on his own anyway. Like, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You have to. You'd want to you'd want to have merit in your work.
Even Stephen King did that himself, and he changed his name to what was his other pen name?
I can't.
Richard Bachman.
There you go. Well done.
And he changed his name because he wondered after his.
You know what? It's Richard Bachman. Yeah. I don't think I would have got it.
I thought you were going to say there's a book.
No,
there.
I
Shit,
thought Richard Matheson is behind I Am Legend.
Yeah, that's a great book.
So I was just like, oh, you have one there, and then I was like, yeah, maybe you should have read the whole name, dickhead.
Yeah, no, but Richard Bachman, because he did 4 or 5 books, and he thought after a while that people were just buying the books because of his name and not because of the quality of the stories. So he wrote these 4 or 5 stories under the pseudonym Richard Bachman, and they're known now as the Bachman books or the Bachman collection or whatever. And it was because he wanted to see if he could have success, not as Stephen King. And he wrote in a slightly different style, but seemed his style as Stephen King style or whatever bled through eventually, and that's how people started figuring out that Richard
you
Bachman
are who you are. Yeah, you know, you are who you are. Yeah,
it was a very interesting thing. Like total side story.
Total side story.
What did you think of the way this expanded the universe? Like,
that's what I liked. That's what I said. I said in the first half is that The Shining could just be this thing.
Yeah.
And why not? Like, it could be some kid in India could have it. Some very, very old man in Australia.
Or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it just, or again, X-Men, whatever. It just touches certain people. 1 in a million, 1 in 10 million.
Yeah.
But like 1 in 10 million is an awful lot. But we still have hundreds of 10 millions of people. You know. Yeah. So it would exist around the world. And I thought that was a cool thing to look into. And that was what I'm saying. This film could exist completely separate. I thought, like Danny as a 40-something-year-old damaged man.
Yeah.
Doesn't.
It's hard to take Hugh McGregor doesn't age.
Yeah, it's true enough. But he.
It's all the midichlorians.
But I thought, expand the universe and have fun with it. And I've seen The Shining and it was excellent. Don't make The Shining. But like, don't forget that it comes from The Shining. Yeah. You want the best of both worlds.
Don't forget to make The Shining, or don't forget that it comes from The Shining, but it's completely unnecessary.
Yeah, because the damage that Danny carries into him, it's from the Outlook.
Yeah,
it's from the Outlook Hotel,
and it's from being his father's son as well.
Being his father's son, and the darkness earlier, story of addiction.
Yeah. Like, who's the guy that got to play Dick Halloran? Because he looks actually a good bit like Scar.
He does, doesn't he?
Because for a while I was like, no way is that the same dude. Oh, man, he can't have aged that well.
Yeah, exactly.
He aged in reverse. Maybe he took the steam out.
Benjamin buttoned his way into the film.
Carl Lumley.
Zachary Mon.
No, it's Carl Lumley.
And there you go. Shout out to him. He was excellent.
And
even the mannerisms and the way he carried him. Yeah, the inflections.
That was.
And it was him that convinced him to help Abra because he helped him.
Yeah.
And he needs to do the right thing as well.
Yeah, and he's been helping him throughout his life as well.
And I liked as well, you won't see me again, Doc, because this world is like a dream of a dream.
Yeah, this is the last dream I'm going to dream or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Or the last time I'm going to dream.
The last time I'm going to dream, yeah.
And like what did you think of, it's kind of like, so he has to, it's kind of like I have to shuffle. It's kind of like the old saying people say children don't reach their full potential until their parents die. Like, that's what they actually say, like, you know what I mean? And this is kind of like Doc is his parent. And, like, Doc had to shuffle off this world for Danny to reach his full potential. So he could become, like, a master to, I don't know, a Padawan.
Yeah, we've done it. We've done it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Abra-Wan Kenobi. But, like, you know what I mean? It's kind of that case.
It would be
like,
Abrakan Skywalker,
by the way. I was actually raging. As soon as I said it, I was like, missed an opportunity.
Yeah.
But, no, so it's the kind of thing, like, he needed to leave him and let him take over the role.
You realize how powerful he is as well, like how much he's been holding back.
Yeah, well, he must know that he is somewhat powerful, that he can lock up all these entities. Because remember, I was going to call him Scatman again, but Carl Lumley, it's Dick
Halloran.
Dick Halloran, sorry. All these names.
Yeah, I know.
But Dick Halloran, like, tells him, like, when I was a kid, my grandmother, who obviously must have shunned as well, like, because she said to him that you can actually lock these away. There's a way, you put them in a box and keep them there. It's like pretty much compartmentalization.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So, like, maybe this is another, like, you know, it's like another nod to mental health, because the whole first film was about, you know, a man's...
This film was about addiction. I thought, you know, there was the True Knot had an addiction.
But you know the way he deals with his problems by locking them away Isn't that kind of like
Yeah,
compartmentalization?
in a very
In a
absolutely,
very
yeah.
like physical way, like, you know what I mean?
By not dealing with them in a
yeah,
sense.
exactly.
but,
Like, yeah, because you're just locking away in deeper recesses of your mind, like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like a repression in a lot of ways.
Yeah, but it's like leaving your past in the past as well.
Yeah,
You know, it's like, yeah, because you can't get rid of them. They existed and they had an impression on you, but they stay there. That's where they live now.
yeah.
But yeah, absolutely.
And I love the way he's got so many boxes.
Yeah, that's it.
I
yeah.
love the first scene when he does the another woman from room 237.
Yes.
And he's going to the jacks. Back in a minute, mother.
Yeah, and I love the fact that he's so confident that
Yeah.
when he shuts the door, he turns around and faces away from her
Yeah.
and shuts the door.
Because-
You think like, okay, I'm going to go face down this evil. I can do this.
Yeah.
But you're not turning your back on that shit
Yeah.
at all. But he realizes that his own potential to a degree now, where he realizes that he can do this probably quite easily.
Yeah. And I think it's the case of now I actually have a way of dealing with them.
Yes.
And that's all it is. Now, you'd be so confident, like, you know what I mean? Like, do you ever be like in a situation where like it seems so hard, and then you figure it out, and then you go into this renewed confidence.
Yes.
And I think that's what the situation is with him, where he's just like, he had this all anxiety. I had all of this anxiety, and it kept coming back to him, and it was just this unending problem because he had no way of solving it.
Yeah.
And as soon as he figured out a way of solving it, I think it just gave him this relief. And it's like he was sitting on the couch, and he obviously sensed that the woman was in the toilet.
Yeah.
And that's why he's like, I'm back in a minute or whatever. And he's just like, now I know how to deal with this.
Yeah.
I know that she can't kill me. She hasn't killed me yet.
No.
She's tried. Now I don't need to run away from her anymore. Now I don't need to hide.
She doesn't realize, but she should be afraid.
Yeah,
of me.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
That's it,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Crow Rorschach. Like,
Which I thought was, I thought
we
was,
should do the Watchman soon.
yeah, we
Yeah,
should,
for sure.
But I thought that when you're talking about the final showdown, going back to the Outlook Hotel, I thought was so iconic.
Yeah.
I thought
It looks-
actually they pull up to it, it's all boarded up.
Do you remember the run through? It's like nearly identical to the intro of the actual Shining.
when they're going up the
and it's the exact same music, and the first shot is identical.
But
I
it's
think-
nighttime.
Yeah, it's
And
nighttime.
so it's got that even straight away. It's got
Yeah.
that darker tone, like
Yeah.
because in the original film it was actually quite idyllic
Yeah.
and beautiful.
Yeah,
you
but
know.
with the ominous music. At the
Yeah,
same
with the
time,
ominous music. Yeah.
That,
But I thought what an excellent place. It had to be there.
yeah.
It literally had to be there. It couldn't have been anywhere else.
And he was like, I'm going to bring her to the place because I think I mentioned it earlier that if it affects people like us, maybe it'll affect people like her.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Well, did you notice when Abra actually went into it, like when he went into it, some of the lights started to come on and stuff like that. But when Abra went into it, there's just a very brief shot of one of the chandeliers and the lights just start to burn even brighter.
Yeah.
Because her shining had been added
Yeah.
to his shining. And the amount of power that the hotel had to work with was obviously increased dramatically.
What do you think of the lack of cobwebs in the Overlook? This is something I was saying to you. I think when because you came in, I was finished just watching the end of it. Do you think the inside, the way it looks, is how Danny is making it look,
Yes.
and the way it looks on the outside? Because does it look a lot more?
But like, if you look, I put it this
abandoned
way: when Jack in the first film walks through the bar area, the function room,
Yeah, the
and it's
ballroom.
just full of people,
Yeah,
and he interacts with them. He gets a drink spilled on him. He gets
Yeah.
a drink cleaned off him. Like, yes, this hotel doesn't exist within the normal confines and realms. So yeah, I do think so. I think it was his perception. It was even like, forget, there wasn't cobwebs. It was also very clean.
yeah.
It wasn't dusty. It
Yeah.
wasn't. It was.
It was kind of like as if it was being nearly as how he remembered it.
Yeah,
You know
but
what
I think especially if he kind of almost gave power to it when it went back in from the perspective of the hotel, no time had passed,
Yeah,
no time at all. Like, you know, especially even like when he gets
Kind
visited
of
by
like what
Halloran.
Dick's- yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
like the hotel.
it's
The
been
hotel
8
was
years.
dormant and it
Yeah.
was confined, and nobody seemed to go there. I won't be surprised if it was a bit like the Pennywise concept of people leave the town and they don't really remember it was
Yeah.
there.
But it's that case of you're oppressed. Like if I saw a ghost and I didn't believe in ghosts, unless I want to give over to the fact that ghosts exist, I'm just going to repress that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, and that's just it's kind of one of those things. Like, and he's kind of tried to repress. That's what the locking in the boxes is. It's him repressing this horrific event in his life that damaged him and turned him into a fucking addict. Like, you know what I mean? And that's what his whole life was about. Him repressing these things. And eventually he realized it's not about repressing the things that hurt you. It's about facing them.
yeah.
And that's when he really got free
Yeah.
at the end, even though he died.
When he sits and talks to his father, who
Yeah.
has become Lloyd,
yeah.
the
Played
bar,
by Henry Thomas, you said.
played by
which I
Henry
think
Thomas of
is
E.T. fame.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Elliot.
Yeah, played by our beloved Elliot.
Yeah.
but it was almost this like exact play-by-play of Jack sitting down with Lloyd.
But Jack was like,
Yeah, but he was offered the drink, and he told them all these stories about what it was like.
Yeah.
We never wanted to see snow again, so we moved to Florida.
yeah.
And about the one.
I was saying to you earlier, do you remember, like, Dick O'Halloran was from Florida?
Yeah.
And do you think that this took his gaff?
Oh, I'd say so. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, ma, like, I want to leave here, and I'm pretty sure I know where there's a free house.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
sure.
You sure he doesn't mind? He said, "Oh, I axed him, and he said it was fine."
Ooh, cutting edge.
But yeah, and I just thought that scene. I thought it was excellent acting as well, because
Yeah.
Hugh McGregor had some real emotion in
Yeah,
that
and
scene.
what did Hugh McGregor do that was different? Danny did not take the
Did
drink.
not drink.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe something warm.
Yeah.
And he goes, and I love that this is medicine.
Yeah.
There's a blackboard, and this is the eraser.
Yeah, that's a great line.
Oh, it's a great line.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a man tries, but there's so many mouths to feed.
Yeah.
And you just realised that.
Do you remember what's it in part one where he's like, the white man's burden, the white man's burden? Remember he kept saying that? I was like, there's a lot of like racist undertones there with Jack in the first
Yeah.
one though, isn't it? Like, you know what I mean? And I think it's just a case of like, you know, he's just looking for anyone to blame. And
Yeah.
that's just his personality. You said it earlier. Like, you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly. Yeah.
He's constantly looking for someone to point the finger at. You,
Exactly.
you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I could do it if it wasn't for this or for this
Yeah,
or this.
exactly,
And you
yeah,
realise
yeah.
that you just
If
probably...
only.
If only, yeah. But I thought it was such an excellent scene, and it was important, and it was him, Jack. It was when Jack, I think, came to his man. This is when he took the drink,
Yeah.
because that was his weakness,
He gave
and
into
he
the
went
dark.
there with the same sickness,
Yeah.
and he refused it
Because Danny shines.
because Danny shines.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that
Shine
really,
on, Danny.
and I think that probably
Mhm.
he was probably stronger, like literally in
Yeah.
the shining for it.
But the fact that, as you said earlier, he had a lot of shine and a little dark, whereas the father had probably a little shine and a
Yeah.
lot of dark.
And there was no sign of Jack after that. There was one more kind of flashback where
He's
the-
chased him with the axe and stuff.
Yeah, where there's another shot of Shelley Duvall going up, but the actress who played
Yeah.
Shelley in this iteration, he kind of dismissed him. He
Yeah.
kind of overcame him, and then it
He
was time.
possesses him though, doesn't he?
Well, no, it seems like the hotel just turns him into yet another. Was it Jack? Was it Jack?
I think Jack possessed him.
Is it
yeah.
Jack that's possessed him?
Yeah.
I know he did the same walk, the same hobble, because
Yeah,
of it,
and he
but
even acts out the same scene, like, you know what I mean, where he cuts through the thing.
That's true, actually.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it was Jack specifically, was it?
Yeah,
I just thought it
it was Jack.
You know, when all the things are inside his head are out, I just thought.
Well, yeah, because he's freed him at this stage, hasn't
He's
he?
freed them, and they're what took out Rose.
Yeah,
Rose has
yeah.
one great showdown with Abra
Yeah.
in the maze, or at least in the mind.
Yeah.
It looks like a maze, and she's cutting her, and then she manages to grab her, and then she realizes that this isn't your mind, you're the bait, and she kind of dismisses the whole world with her power.
Yeah.
And then she has a face down with Jack, which was cool as well. There was a couple of cool lines there.
Yeah.
Like, are we going to do this or not? And then
Can't find this actor.
the actor who played who?
Oh, is it? No, I can't find the one that played Wendy. She's not here on my list.
Oh yeah, I can't think of her name either.
Oh, I'll check it up later.
But that showdown, she nicks the artery. Remember, she starts drinking the steam, and she goes,
Yeah.
"You taste like whiskey."
Yeah, is that why he's kind of yellow? Is it?
Yeah, I think it's what she said. She did say it gets polluted.
Yeah.
I think it was polluted, but she still
Polluted by his lifestyle.
Yeah, but he was
Yeah.
still so powerful. I'd say that she could
Yeah.
still get a lot from it, especially when she doesn't have to share.
And because she was looking for him at one stage.
Oh,
Remember he said that
yeah,
there's
yeah.
someone out there, a woman looking for me always.
Yeah,
Saul was looking for me. He knew that, like,
yeah.
that's why he's kind of tried to suppress his shine a little bit too.
Oh yeah, and it worked for him. Like you
Yeah.
know, he worked for him.
Because he used drugs and alcohol to kind of suppress the shine, let in the dark. You know what I mean? Like, so to kind of dim the output you're giving out into the world. Because he obviously knew there's people out there looking for people to shine.
I still found a memory, like, you know, that the baby, then the woman he slept with, she was dead, and the baby starved
Was the
to
woman
death.
dead though? Was she?
Yeah, I think that was.
That's what I think. She choked to death in her own
Yeah,
vomit.
she
did
choked it out in her own vomit, and he just left the baby there, and they weren't found for 2
And
weeks.
the baby was shit, all covered in shit and stuff.
The baby, yeah, exactly. It was it was horrible. It was a good scene, like, from a
Yeah.
horror perspective. But the showdown, back to the showdown, I thought I would like the where she's looking and she goes, "What's in those boxes?" Because as she's drinking from them, she can
Yeah.
sense. And she said, like, there's something special. And he goes, no, there's not special. They're starving.
Yeah.
And he lets it all out. And it's that cool thing where you make the thing that's haunted you work for you.
Yeah.
And it devours her, and which is a good death. But
I
just
want my
wouldn't-
enemies to share my terror.
Yeah, I
Good
want
quote, Batman.
Well, there you go. But I thought it was maybe a little bit quick for my liking. And then it was funny. Then it kind of does become The Shining, but I think it earned it at that stage. where again, I guess he becomes Jack Turner. That's the thing I didn't really get straight away. I knew he walked like him, he had the axe and all that jazz, but he
maybe it was because I forgot that it was after.
Yeah, because he lets all the demons
so
out.
Maybe it's everything.
It's everything.
It's like the Overlook is in him.
Yeah, and that's what the Overlook was in Jack. You know, so
exactly.
But he
because it Meg Grady axe murder.
But you realise he had this all planned because when he catches up with Abra says, "No, you're in Dan." Yeah. And one thing Dan did before any of this is he visited one room, the boiler room. Yeah. So he had already planned to die there. Like, exactly. And that's what makes him so powerful. Yeah. Is that he has, like, when you're fighting to kill and survive, and the person's fighting to kill and die, you becomes that much more dangerous. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, you know, and I thought remember when he was saying to his father in the scene in the bar, he was like, I saw my mother couldn't look at me. Yeah. And I could see it, and she hated herself for it. And then he could see the death flies on her before she died, because that's the way he perceived it. And but then at the end, just in the boiler room, it's the mother with her little boy. She comes back to him, and she's with him in this hour. And that was quite poignant, and it was almost like, and the whole hotel comes up, and I thought that was a good end for the Outlook Hotel. Yeah, and a good end for Danny as well. And a good end for Danny, absolutely. He finally faced his fears. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And because that's what I think the whole film is kind of about. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It was like the whole film was a lot of it was about addiction, but also this really wide swinging pendulum of the redemption of Danny. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And let himself shine. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing. And then, of course, the penultimate scene at the very end where he's in the bedroom with Abra, and you can tell that he's taken on the Halloran role. Yeah, exactly. And like a Force Ghost. Yeah, like a Force Ghost. My God, the amount of things you can draw. But she says, "I told you to when we first met. I told you to hide and not shine." He goes, "No, you shine. You shine." Yeah, shine on Abra. I might be just I would have been like, or maybe be careful. Like, you're literally God tier. Yeah, you know? I would be like, there's probably more people like her out there. So if I was you, I'd start looking for other people that can shine. Yeah, build your army. Yeah. You know, like, learn how to find them. Yeah, exactly. Because she the only reason she found them was through the absolute torture of one of her own. Yeah, that wouldn't be a good barometer. But anyway, like, he's probably going to visit her 2, 3, 4 more times as well. Anyway, so it kind of, it was open ended. But I thought I don't know, it was a very literal passing of the torch from Halloran to Danny, and then the passing of the torch from Danny to Abra. And I just thought it was a nice way to kind of wrap up the film. And then, of course, it just had a good cinematic piece, which is all the ghosts that Danny let out, they're still loose. And the mother said, "Are you coming?" She goes, 1 minute. And she walks in, and the woman in the tub. And, but not even that, she turns her back on her. It's the exact same thing. Yeah, exactly. She's so unafraid that she's even way more powerful. Oh yeah, especially at that age. This is kind of funny to her. I'd say at this stage. And there was even a couple of times where she was taking on Rose. She was enjoying it. Yeah, you know, when she was cutting her. Oh, because it was revenge for her. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean? She like, as soon as that little baseball boy got killed, she was out for blood. Oh, out for blood. Yeah. I thought there was even going to be was there going to be darkness in her that came to the surface, but it turns out she just put her mind to something, and she was like, "No, I'm killing them all." Yeah, and that was it. Yeah, like when she just stands over Crawdaddy and goes, "I hope it hurts a lot." Yeah, and I love that. But Crawdaddy just killed her father as well at that stage. Crawdaddy had killed her father as well, actually. Yeah. I would like to think there would have been a way that she could have helped them, but decided not to. Yeah. You know, that just to make the revenge. But all in all, I just thought, that was such a great watch. Yeah. And I didn't realise, but the one I watched must have been director's cut. It was 3 hours even. Yeah, I wonder what was extra. That's the thing. I had no frame of reference. Yeah. Because I haven't watched it against anything. Yeah, no, I checked that out. Yeah, but and nothing in it. Like, of course, if you wanted to say where could we chop the fat, I'm sure I can think of stuff. But the film never felt like it was lagging. Yeah, because it's naturally a long film. Anyway. Exactly. Abra was such a great character, and Danny was such a great character, and Rose the Hat was such a great character, and it was all their journeys to meet. Crawdaddy was a cool character. Crawdaddy was a cool character. Abra Andy Snake by Andy was a more tertiary but still a very cool character, very powerful character. Even like she gets Cliff Curtis kill himself. She was like, "Don't approach her," and she just said, "Kill yourself." And right as she's dying because he shot her in the neck. I think he shot her in the neck, and then she turned around all shocked, and he put one in the belly. So she was only shoot her in the head, dude. Shoot her in the head, shoot her in the fucking head. Actually, even if it had gone more through her throat, she wouldn't be able to talk. But all in all, I think if you're going to execute small women, is what we're saying, shoot them in the head. So before we get out here, I'd like to say, if you're going to execute women,
But like it's a hard act to follow The Shining because like it's such an iconic movie.
So don't.
Yeah, so don't exactly. So don't even try. All you can do is pay respect, pay your homages,
Which you did.
Yeah, and what you did to great effect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. You can't
Like you can have your opinion on this film, but
Yeah.
I would fight you on it not paying its homage to
Yeah.
its origin.
and it
very
did
much so
while
did.
it's also remaining its own story,
Yes.
which is all you can ask for a long delayed sequel.
Yeah.
And I don't even mean like delayed is not even the right word, but you know what I mean. A sequel where there's a long gap
Yeah.
because, as I said, the book came out 4 or 5 years ago.
2013, yeah.
Yeah,
It's not like the subject matter existed. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like so, like I think it was a hard act to follow, but I tried to follow it in a completely different way. And even though like it might not share the same iconic status as The Shining, but even The Shining only grew over time. So maybe this will grow over time too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think people need to stop being so snobbish when sequels come out to stuff they love. Because I think a lot of people don't go to see these movies and they judge it without even knowing about them. So like, they judge it without the.
I did. I admit to it. Yeah.
And I think that's the problem with a lot of people. You need to stop judging stuff before you've seen it.
Yeah.
Watch it and then decide.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because sometimes you'd be surprised. Like a lot of times you might be surprised. You know what
Absolutely,
I mean? Like
yeah.
a lot of sequels, modernized sequels to older classics are shit. Like we all know that. But if you can just put your biases to one side, sometimes something will surprise you.
Yes.
And I think Doctor Sleep is definitely one of those things.
Yeah.
Because I went in expecting nothing for it. Because that's the way I tried to do. When I look at a sequel to something that's more classical, if you expect nothing, you'll never be disappointed.
Well, I knew I
You
had
know
to
what I
talk about it here, so for me it was just like I'm just going to sit down and watch it. So yeah, like
Yeah.
that, and I had no expectation,
Exactly,
good
yeah.
or bad. It was homework.
Yeah.
Homework for the podcast.
Required
sit down and
viewing.
watch it. Required viewing.
Yeah.
So like I mean, not exactly a difficult job. Sit down,
Yeah.
crack a beer, watch a movie. That was fine.
Yeah.
But then it was like, wow,
It's actually good.
it's actually good.
Yeah,
You know,
really good.
So I shouldn't listen. And I'm not one of these guys that goes
Yeah.
onto the Rotten Tomatoes forums or
Yeah.
something like that.
I
I'm
never
really
read
not.
a review before I've seen a movie.
But I do. I don't know. Somewhere in the ether, I was told that this wasn't
Yeah.
a great film. I couldn't tell you where.
By
and-
some shining snob.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and here I am. Kind of really after really enjoying
Yeah.
it. I have to say,
Because people go in hating something before they even see it.
yes.
And
Especially something that's a follow up to a classic. You're
Yeah.
not allowed to like it.
Yeah.
Why are they
because
remaking
people
it?
are like, oh, the Thing prequel is shit. No, it just had bad special effects. It's a good
really
film.
bad special
Yeah,
effects.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and in fact, if that was done practically,
yeah, and if
it
you ever,
would've been-
there's actually shots where they did it practically and then decided to put CGI over it. It's on YouTube. You should check it out. But like, I just think when you have such an iconic movie, when you're going to follow it up, tell your own story, pay respect to the original, and if you do that, you're doing well. And if you can create a good story with
judged on your own merits. That's all. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
That's the takeaway. Yeah,
it's so different, but yeah, it holds a similar tone at times.
Yeah.
To the original, and I think that's all it could do.
yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, and as you said, it stands on its own. It's its own thing. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
You could watch this film without having seen The Shining.
Oh, exactly. Yeah,
could,
you
like, yeah.
really could, like, because there's enough backstory given in the film.
Oh, absolutely.
that you could be
yeah.
like, oh, I guess Danny's father went insane at this hotel.
Yeah.
he told me. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
Haunted hotel.
Yeah.
Father went mad. It would be, you
Yeah, exactly,
pick
yeah.
that up.
Yeah.
And it doesn't do The Shining justice. But I'm just saying you'll be able to enjoy this film.
Yeah,
on its
exactly,
merits
because
with
as I
just
said-
that information.
Yeah, because I said to you earlier on, like, Bare Bones, The Shining is about a haunted hotel that drives a father insane and he tries to murder his family.
yeah,
And that's literally The Shining.
That's
And
The
now it's
Shining,
Bare
yeah.
Bones, like, you know what I mean? And even though it's a classic, but that's it, like, and it's Bare Bones.
Yeah, absolutely,
And, like,
yeah.
and you could eat, and they give you that information, Doctor Sleep. So you're right, you could watch it as
Yeah.
a standalone movie, like,
Yeah, absolutely.
easily. Like,
and
you
you
know?
probably and like kind of to harken back on what you said, you should watch it with that mindset.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah,
You really should,
not
though,
be like, oh, it lacks this or it lacks this. Just watch it.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
it'll
think a lot of
impress you.
people went into the thing were like, oh, it's definitely not going to be as good as the 1982. Of course, it's not going to be as good.
Yeah.
But maybe it's still going to be a good movie.
Yeah,
Because it's not a 10 out of 10 movie, it might still be a 7 out of 10 movie.
yeah, and that's
Might be
7
an
out of
eight-
10 movies isn't a bad movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
You have to give it a chance to be.
Yeah,
a
I
seven.
remember not liking that when it came out, but I remember just cursing the special effects.
Yeah. And I was the same way. I was like, first time I seen it, I was like, oh, I'm raging over the special effects, but I enjoyed it. And the second time, because I knew about the special effects, I wasn't surprised by it, so I just concentrated on the story.
I concentrated on how well they set up the second one for all the visuals
man,
and stuff.
the continuity, like, and the way they
The
had
continuity was
spot
god. Yeah,
on,
it was
like, spot
so
on.
good.
And like the way they shot the film and the way they made the discovery and the way they expanded on the thing and breaking out the ice. Everything I think was spot on apart from the special effects.
Yeah.
And I think when you have a film like in the thing like in 2011, like I think a lot of hatred it gets and probably a lot of hatred Dr. Sleep gets is just that people went in and prejudged it. And when you prejudge something, it's either you're going to be open-minded and get your mind changed, or you're going to stay with your original convictions.
How many films have you watched where they the low bar of expectation that other people are giving you have helped the film.
Oh, tons.
You know what I mean?
Like tons.
'Cause
Like,
you listen too much.
Or-
But then again, there's a lot of people who have the same taste as you, so you take them. But it doesn't mean they have the exact same taste.
And it's kind of like you weigh it up, like, oh, if they like this film and I liked it, then that means they might like this one. But sometimes films are so individualistic that I might enjoy a film that you might enjoy, and I might recommend it to you. And you know our choices or our tastes are similar. You might go, dude, that was pretty shit. And I go, really? Do you not like this and this? And you go, no, I'm not into that. I prefer this, and this in the action movie or whatever. You know what I mean? So even though one film that we share an enjoyment of should not be the barometer of people's taste in movies because they're so individualistic.
Absolutely,
you know what I
absolutely.
mean? But like, so will we get the fuck out of here?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's finish up our job here.
All right, motherfuckers. All right.
Get some doctor sleep.
Get some doctor sleep. Yeah, get the shine on, Noel. Shine on. But, all right, folks, this is Invasion of the Potty Snatchers. I'm your host, Vincent Green.
I'm your host, Noel John Toohey.
And we got Carmack in the back. And thanks for joining us for The Shining in part 1 and Dr. Sleep in part 2. Let's get the fuck out of here. Time to overlook ourselves away from here.
Peace out, mofos.
Peace out, motherfuckers. See you next time.